All right, we are all set for those who want to watch live on Facebook also. We are very much set with that. And I invite Sister Valerie to introduce our wonderful international motivational speaker today, Aruna Ladva. Welcome, Valerie. Om Shanti.
Shanti, thank you, Sister Hansa, and most welcome, Sister Aruna. This is such a pleasure to be able to have you on today, an absolute delight, and we are so looking forward to it. And I would like to first, for the audience, tell you a little bit about Aruna Ladva. She is Aruna's first encounter with spiritual truths and experience of meditation was at the age of 8. Her deep personal experiences led her to realize her purpose by the time she was 14. For over 37 years, Aruna has been practicing meditation and has become an accomplished spiritual author. Aruna is fortunate to have the blend of two cultures, the East and the West. She was born in Kenya, educated in England, worked in Canada, and has lived in various other parts of the world and travels regularly to India. The gift of a contemplative mind and her deep search for truth has enhanced Aruna has a gift of a contemplative mind, and her deep search for truth has enabled Aruna to focus on her personal soul journey. Aruna's writing was inspired by the teachings of the Brahma Kumaris, where she studied the gentle art of Raja Yoga meditation. She is one of the experienced and dedicated teachers helping to promote this yogic art. Aruna also facilitates retreats and trainings and manages various self-development projects. Getting very excited here. Aruna was helped to establish meditation centers in Vancouver, Canada, Istanbul, Turkey, Manama, Bahrain, and Kuwait City in Kuwait. Aruna's interest in the study of the self has led her to explore different ways of creating a peaceful life through the balance of a diary-free lifestyle combined with meditation. As a certified negotiator in conflict resolution, Aruna works to promote inner peace and harmony. In her way, she has become a peace ambassador. Aruna's clear intellect and insight helps to convey spiritual wisdom in a way that is easy and accessible, with a style and language that speaks to everyone. Aruna has launched 8 books. It's Time for Relationships, It's Time for Change, and It's Time for Self-Empowerment. It's time to be cool. It's time to meditate. It's time to do the inner work. And 50 Things, a collection of beautiful, inspired writings that covers a wide range of topics. Conflict Resolution is Aruna's self-published workbook that will help you manage most of your conflicts. This is Aruna's gift to you, and you can download a free copy from the homepage, also available for purchase at a non-profit price. Aruna began blogging in February 2010. She had been writing a weekly blog ever since. She has been writing a weekly blog ever since, and articles are now being translated into several languages. You can subscribe to that on its time. In November 2014, Aruna received a Women of Excellence Award from the Yoga Federation of India for her contribution to social work. We would also just like to read this special thanks and appreciation. And you can't see the picture, but it's the one of Aruna sitting with Daddy Janki. And Aruna writes, I would really like to thank all those who have had faith in me and supported its time, which is over the years. Without you, its time could not have come this far. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, and may we continue to make a collective difference in the world. Thank you, Daddy Janki, for believing in me when I did not. We'll really miss you and love you. And that's the picture of Daddy Janki and Aruna Ladva. Thank you so much for the opportunity to read about Aruna Ladva. Thank you, Sister Hansa.
So can we wave Aruna and welcome anybody? Please, if you can unmute yourself, open your video, come on the screen. Welcome, Aruna. It's a wonderful opportunity. She's, as we all know, quite occupied her schedule, and she found time for us. So we all can say welcome. Welcome, Aruna. Welcome. Can I hear the voice? You can unmute here. Welcome.
Welcome, sister.
Shanti, welcome. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Okay, all right. So now I will mute myself.
So Om Shanti. Shall I start, yeah? Thank you so much. Hansaben, Valerie, Sacramento family, the West Coast. As you know, I used to live in Vancouver, so I have a very close affinity to the West Coast. And I must say that I had some very deep realizations whilst I was in Vancouver, which helped to shape my life. So I'm always indebted to the West Coast. And the book that you were mentioning, Valerie, is this book. And you can actually download it. It's in soft copy. And it's in a font that's readable. And as I said, it has lots of exercises and stories and lists of things. Right, so let's begin. I think there's no one in this group who doesn't have conflict, right? There's got to be conflict of some kind, however minor. And so let's start with this premise that we all have some kind of conflict and just accept it. This is the first thing, not to be in denial of it. Because if we are in denial of conflict, then we don't change and nothing changes and we don't move forward. Okay, so I would like to start with a PowerPoint. And yeah, so let's start. So what is conflict? So I actually had my training in British Columbia, the mediation training, at the Center for Conflict Resolution. At that time, it was quite reputable, and since then, it's become even more reputable. So I'm quite fortunate that actually the government paid for me to take this course. So I'm very, again, indebted to the government of Canada. So the definition of conflict is the actual or perceived opposition of needs, values, wishes, or perceptions resulting in stress or tension. Right? Actual or perceived. Actual, it's happening or it's in your mind. So you can see here, this gentleman went to the anger support group to get some help. And then he saw this sign and it says, tonight's meeting is cancelled. And so he got very mad, right? And he broke the window. So basically what's happening, his need is not getting met. And because his need is not getting met, it's resulting in stress and tension. And so let's go back to our childhood. When our needs were not met as a baby, when we didn't get our mother's milk, when we didn't get our nappy change, what did we start doing? We started crying, and then crying as loud as we could. And then even as a toddler, again, we started thumping the ground, maybe throwing things. So we call that temper tantrums. And so this is the kind of pattern that we grow up with, that when my needs are not met, then I'm going to make a kick and a fuss about it. So you can see how when my need is not met, this creates the stress and tension, and that is in essence the conflict. Okay, but we will build on this theme. So let's just look at a few of the sources of conflict. So as you can see, this gentleman, he has a hard time keeping his wife quiet. And so he has this extra special seatbelt. So my point here is, because we cannot tolerate somebody, we want to try and control them. This is what I hear many times also when people say, well, if only the other person were quiet or polite or positive, then my life would be better. But I have to make my life better despite whatever is in front of me. So here are some sources of conflict, and I know there's many, many more, but just to give you an idea in case, just to give you a taste, because through my experience of doing this, sometimes people can't identify what is a conflict. So jealousy is definitely a conflict. When you see them as a threat, so maybe you are in a position and the other person wants the same position, so now you start seeing them as a threat to your position. Or they mirror something back to you. So say, for example, there is a very untidy person at work. And again, you don't like them because you're untidy and you don't like this part of yourself. And then you don't like them. So anything they do irritates you. Or they remind you of a past negative experience or of someone else. So maybe now you've got a new boss and suddenly he reminds you of your school principal or reminds you of your dad. And again, the ante goes up inside. And then your beliefs, values, and standards are different from theirs. So again, we all have different ways of functioning and we should be respecting that, but instead, we just think it's a conflict of interest. So again, as I said, it could be tidy, it could be fast, it could be, you're fast, they're slow, you're tidy, they're untidy, or they think they can take their time to do the work and you think, no, it should be done overnight. Just differing ways of doing things. Well, as the next point, you have opposing styles or ways of working. So again, it could lead to the same thing, but maybe somebody does it this way and you want it done this way. And of course, misunderstandings, right? We all have misunderstandings. And my experience is there are so many stories because I deal with a lot of people. And then when you ask each of them has a story, and it's a legitimate story. So again, I believe everybody's doing their best. I believe everybody's trying to do their best, but it doesn't always come out that way. And then there are misunderstandings. And so what is your belief system that easily leads you to conflict? And I'm particularly saying this in regard to, do you believe that if you get what you want, then I cannot have what I want? And so let's just set this clear. With conflict management, why there is conflict management is so that there can be a win-win situation, not a win-lose situation. See, many times when there is conflict, there's always this thinking or belief that if I get, you have to lose. So in other words, if I win, you have to lose. But conflict management, if it's done properly, then there can be some win-win situation where there can be an overlap. Yes, we both might have to give up something, but we both will also get what we want. And this is called win-win. We both win. But again, for that, we need, to sit and communicate and many things. So again, just look at your belief system. So just take a moment now and look at maybe your last conflict. And what were you thinking in that conflict? Is it that you have to win? Or is it that we can both win? And maybe we can both together collaborate to find a solution? Or was your belief system, oh no, I don't want to enter this conflict? So maybe your belief system is avoidance. Yeah. So there can be competition, which is my way or the highway, or there can be avoidance, which is a passive response to dealing with conflict, or the collaborative response, which is let's work together to find a solution. So just check your belief system. So let us weigh up the cost of conflict. And I always encourage people to do this. So what I mean here is I'd like you to, if you have a certain conflict in your mind, just think about something or someone that you think, could be smoothened out more. And I'd like you to weigh up two things. So one, what will happen if I don't resolve this conflict? And two, what will I gain if I resolve this conflict? Now, let me say that not all conflicts are resolvable. There can be a situation where you agree to disagree, but at least you will go to bed with a good night's sleep, knowing that you have made the attempt, that you have tried, and then you can be at peace with that. But to never try, that's not right. Because I should allow myself that opportunity. So that's why I'm saying, on a piece of paper, draw a line in the middle. What happens if I don't resolve this conflict? On the other side, what do I gain if this conflict is resolved or smoothened out? Okay, you can try that later. And so let's try to understand conflict a bit better. So here are some tips and tools. So firstly, let's separate the people from the problem. As I said somewhere where I posted this flyer, I said that this conflict resolution will have a spiritual twist. So this is part of it. Separate the people from the problem. In other words, what they do is a problem, but they are not the problem. Do you see? Yes, I condemn their behavior, but I don't condemn them. Because our spiritual teachings teach us to love every soul, to love every being. And I always feel that we are all fallible. We are not perfect. Is there anyone perfect in this Zoom call tonight? Maybe you can raise your hand if you're perfect. But no, none of us are perfect. And so just as we might make a mistake, let us allow that margin for somebody else to make that mistake. So already, if I have this kind of attitude towards the other person, I have actually resolved 50% of the conflict. Because a lot of conflict occurs, or let's say the negative feelings around the conflict occur because I feel I'm not accepted, I'm not loved, I'm not valued, I'm not treated with respect and appreciation. And that just adds fuel to the conflict. So that's why I'm saying, let's try and separate both. Yeah, I love you as a soul. I think you're great. And I see that you have a lot of good specialities, but I'm not sure I agree with the way you deal with this, deal with that, the way you speak to me, etc. So that's the issue, you see? So again, try in your mind, even as I said, keep a scenario, I think, as we go through this and see how you can apply these tips and tools to that scenario. And then conflict is not a contest, right? Conflict is not a contest. So we make it a contest of win and lose. Okay, so I'd like to paint you a little picture. So the picture is that, let's say there is Betsy Bliss and whatever, John Doe, and they're a couple, married couple living together. And John is having his day off. It's a Saturday. He's been working hard all week. And so he decides he's going to, sit on his couch and watch the football match. And Betsy feels it's time to go do some shopping. There's no groceries in the house, so she's gone off to do the shopping. Now, when Betsy comes to the door, she's laden with all these bags and the phone in her ear and maybe the baby dangling on one arm. And she tries to use the key to get in. And of course, she's tired, she's frustrated. And as she enters, she sees that Joe is sitting comfortably on the couch. And then she bats her first ball, right? And she says to him, "Is that all you can do all day?" Okay, and then he returns the ball and he says, "Well, if you didn't go out and spend my money." And she says, "All you have time for is your football and your friends. You have no time for me." And you see how the match continues. But what was the real issue? The real issue was, can you please come and help me to take the shopping in? But do we do that? No. Why? Because there are lots of underlying issues already there in the soul. And we haven't been able to clear those, right? And because we haven't been able to clear those, that becomes an obstruction in my present moment. And look how we have moved from you don't help me, to him thinking you waste my money, then she feels you don't give me time. And so each one will keep batting something back until they have the last say. And that's what I mean about contest. Each will keep adding something, some extra fuel to the fire until they think that, see, I win. But let me say that conflict is not a contest. Now, just think about a scenario where you have been talking through these conflicts on a daily basis. Will you ever get to that point where then in a moment of stress or panic, you're going to let your steam out? No. So this is why we need to keep dealing with the issue as it's coming up. Now, as it's coming up doesn't mean immediately. I mean, yes, understand it, identify it, and then say to the other person, look, can I speak to you, please? I find that I need extra help in dealing with the housework, etc. So when we do it like this, when we express our needs, when we are not under stress and tension, then we are better heard. But when we scream and shout, and especially in that moment when we are in need, our need is not getting met, then we are going to be doubly frustrated. So again, let me say, underline that conflict is not a contest of win and lose. And that's not how to deal with conflict. It's not to keep batting the ball and expect to win. No. We need to keep our bat and ball down, and we need to sit, and then we need to communicate. So conflict is neither good or bad. And I know it's a very simple point, but I have to make a special slide for it because it is an important point. So conflict is neither good or bad, it just is. Even if we could just understand this bit about conflict, we will really fare well in our life. Now, many people, as I said, fear conflict. Or as soon as something comes up, we think, oh, no, I don't want to go there. I don't want to talk to them. But why? Let me honestly say that when or after I took this course and after I started to apply it, I just got so much more confident with conflict. So I didn't see conflict as conflict. I just saw it as, oh, okay, we have differing opinions. Oh, okay, fine. They think like that. I think like this. I mean, something changed in my attitude where I wasn't feeling on the defensive. I didn't feel I needed to attack the other person. And it wasn't just the tools of conflict resolution, but some clicks happened where I said, it's okay. It's okay for us to see things differently. You know, you have a different life, you have a different background, you have a different understanding, you have a different set of values that are different from mine, not good or bad or worse. No, just different. And so it's okay. And then because I wasn't on the defensive, then I found that, yeah, I was able to accept whatever was being thrown at me. I was able to look at it. And yes, many times I was able to turn it around and learn from it. So this is my point. This is my point, that conflict, right, just is. So again, just try to change your attitude towards conflict. So as I said, the advantages and disadvantages of resolving conflict, I've already kind of mentioned that. But as you can see from the, I'm having a bit of, because there's all this stuff here. Okay. So yes, after a few more years of complaining, I think I may change my life. So what I want to say here is, I think we all get to a point where we decide that I have to do something about the conflict. And you can choose to live with the conflict, but isn't it far better to at least try and resolve the conflict? When I'm living, okay, let me get this clear and get this out of the way first. If there is abuse, physical abuse, or anything of that sort, then I don't agree that you should stand there and take it. I think you should report it, and I think you should take help, professional help. But here we're talking about day-to-day conflicts, minor things, verbal things. So you have to ask yourself, should I stand there and take it? Or should I be doing something about it? So either I can stand there and be somebody's punching bag, or I can make myself strong from inside out. And so even if somebody's throwing something at me, I'm able to deflect it back. So in Aikido, this art of self-defense, they are taught that when the opponent is coming towards you, you don't stand there like a brick wall. You get into position. So you get your feet into balance, you stand on the side, and you make sure that any thrust that's going to come to you, you're going to be able to withstand it. So you get your legs, your arms into position, you're observing what's happening, the speed at which they're coming. And then what do? You take that opponent's energy and you use their energy to overthrow them. And all you've done is got into position. But you're using their force, right? You're using their, what's the word? Not kinetic energy, but their thrust, right? They're coming to you, running to attack you, and all you're doing is redirecting that energy. And so this is what I'm asking you to do here. You just get into position, which is your spiritual position, which is your peace of mind, which is your inner calm. And when you get into that position, whatever comes to you, you're able to then redirect that energy. So this is one of the advantages. There are many, but you sit and you can see your situations, and then you can ask yourself, okay, what are the advantages of dealing with my conflict? So one of the important things is identifying your triggers. Now, as you will see, we have different Mona Lisas, right? Now, when we are triggered, yes, we become like this, right? We react. So what is a trigger? So normally the trigger is on the gun. When somebody pulls the trigger, the bullet is let out. In the same way, when something happens, then I react. So say, for example, somebody is late and I don't like lateness, or I'm always on time, then that lateness becomes my trigger. Say I'm an extremely tidy person and then I see things thrown around the house. So the untidiness becomes my trigger. Say I'm a quiet person and somebody keeps talking till the cows come home. And that becomes my trigger. So again, we need to do, and I'll come to that later, but the inner work. We need to sit and identify what are our triggers. And why am I being triggered by it? Why can I not see it for what it is? Why can I not be detached? So fine, I understand I'm being triggered by it. So then I say to myself, okay, how can I learn from it? And how can I master it? Okay, so identify your triggers. And then I really believe that all conflict is some kind of karma. And if I understand that this is a karmic account that I have with this person, and the only way to settle this karmic account is to give that person something. The account is created because there is a debt. I owe this person something. So it's not money. Karma is not always about money. It's not that you pay them $1,000 and your karma is over. No, karma is much deeper than that. You may have to pay them $1,000, but karma goes much deeper than that. It's the account between soul and soul. And one of the things that helps me to understand karma is I say to myself, look, if this is happening to me with this person, then maybe I did this to them at some point, and I'm not aware of it. And again, this just gives a lot of inner peace and calm that, okay, fine, I accept. I'm responsible. And somewhere I created this. I don't know where, I don't know how, and we may never know, but nothing just happens out of, happenstance. Like nothing just happens from nowhere. Something somewhere, a seed has been planted. It's just I cannot connect the dots. I cannot connect the dots of, oh, I said this and I did that, and oh, I had that thought, and oh, yes, I had that attitude. That's right. I'm not connecting all the dots. And then I say, oh, why me? And this is the funny thing about karma. When we win a lottery ticket, we don't question why me. But as soon as something bad happens, we say, why me? But good or bad, whatever's meant to come to me will come to me no matter what. So anyway, all I'm saying is get a broader understanding of karma and see what it is between you and that person. And let me say that the level on which the karma is created, the karma has to be settled. So if I've had negative thoughts about a person, then I need to start having positive thoughts. And if I've said something bad, yes, I need to apologize. I can't say, oh, yes, in my mind, I apologize. No, I said something bad. I need to apologize with my words. And yes, if I took something from somebody, I need to replace it. So anyway, lots of deep points about karma. And if you choose to take the meditation course, Brahma Kumari's centers have very deep understanding of karma. Now, a big part of conflict is the ego. And it's good that this conflict crunches my ego if I give it the chance to. And that's why I'm saying it's an opportunity for change. So when there is a conflict I'm confronted with, what do I say? I react because I feel inside, how dare you? How dare you do this to me? Because there's some kind of superiority complex inside. But why not? You know, you're driving a car and there's a narrow street and there's only room for one car. Somebody has to back up. Who's the one to back up? This is where the egos are being tested, right? And the one who says, okay, fine, I've got all the time in the world. I don't have a paucity of time. Let me back up. Let me keep my peace. Let them go. And then at the end, you really will feel better for it. But if you stand there, gritting your teeth, holding tightly your steering wheel, getting stressed, having such bad thoughts for the other person, what's that going to do to your day? So really, let me tell you a story, which is kind of connected. So the story is that there was a teacher at school, and there was a group of children, and there was a bully, as always. There's always a bully at school. So this bully says to the children during the playtime, let's say 10:30, he says, look, we're going to play a trick on the teacher. And he says, when we're in the classroom and she's writing something on the board, then at that point, I'm going to give you the signal and we're all going to pick up our books and drop them on the floor and make a big sound, and we're going to frighten the teacher. And of course, everybody's scared of this bully. So they say, yes, yes, okay, okay. And they get back into the classroom. And as soon as the teacher turns around to write something, he gives them the signal. And they pick up their books, they drop the books, they make a big sound. And the teacher very quietly turns around, and she too picks up her books and drops them to the floor. And she says, oh, I'm sorry, I'm late. So you see, she didn't allow them to win. She humbled, she accepted, and she also said, you know, guys, I'm with you. There's no them and us, or there's no she and us. We are together. And so because she managed her anger, her ego, then they couldn't win over her. But for this, we need to do a lot of inner work of self-managing the self, so that in that moment, we are not affected. It's not the work to do in that moment, it's the work to do beforehand. Like, for example, when I'm sitting in meditation and I'm really exercising the muscles of the soul. Like yesterday, we had a seminar on fasting, mind over matter. And how if we really create the right thoughts to push our limits. Now think about it. When you go to the gym and you're working on those muscles, are those muscles only useful to you in the gym, during the gym? No. You're working on those muscles in the gym, but then wherever you go, you have those muscles to call upon. You can use them when you're shopping, when you're traveling, you're carrying your bags, and those muscles are useful everywhere. So in the same way, when I sit in meditation and I'm really working on myself, exercising the muscles of my soul, stretching them, then when I come into different circumstances, I can apply that quite calmly, and then I don't get affected. Right? This is why I'm saying that if you feel your ego is getting hurt, it's okay. Be thankful that it is being crunched. We always say that what is the sign? What is the sign that my ego is getting hurt? And the sign is I will have some pain. I will have some sorrow. If there's no ego, there is no pain. So as I said, it's really good that it gets crunched and then I become better. It means healthier for it. And so the conflict is really for me to get to know myself. It's the inner conflict, right? This is the point. It's not the outer conflict. If I'm finding you a problem, it's because I'm finding myself a problem. Let me give you another example. So if you're driving a car and you see this kid run in front of you and suddenly you brake, why are you so mad? And I'm mad because I could have run over that child. Yeah, more than the fact that the child ran across the car, I'm mad at myself that I could have knocked him over and I could have done this damage. So in the same way, when something is happening outside of us, I'm more concerned about what's going on inside of me. But it's good. Again, it's all good. When something comes up, it's coming to show me something about myself. What part of myself do I need to develop more? And on our spiritual journey, we really learn that when any test comes, it comes because the student is ready. And how does the student know how it is faring if it doesn't get a test? If you're at school and you don't have any tests, any exams, how do you know that you're a grade 1 student? So really, allow the tests to come. Don't create them. This is the difference. Don't create the test. In other words, don't create the conflict. But if they come, then see what's the resistance. Why does it have to be a conflict? And can I dissolve that easily with myself, from within myself? And so for this, as I mentioned earlier, I made reference to it, it's really the role of the inner work. So for example, if I'm going to resolve a conflict with somebody, first I have to do the inner work of really having some good wishes and pure feelings for that soul. I need to think positive that there can be an outcome from this situation. If I'm being pessimistic, if I'm being negative, if I'm grumpy, if I'm moody, there's not going to be any solution. So really, the role of inner work is for me to sit with myself, to reflect, to check my thoughts, change my thoughts, shift my attitude. And as I mentioned earlier, my belief system about conflict, that there can be a solution, there can be a win-win solution. So the role of inner work is really to heighten my awareness of who I am and how I function. And the more we know about ourselves, the more we're able to understand others. So inner work creates inner power. My inner power to deal with what's outside. And why is there the picture of the iceberg? Because a lot of the iceberg, 75% of the iceberg is under the water. Only 25% is above the water. So the iceberg is moving in the direction of the water current. In other words, we are driven by what's under the surface, not what's outside. Again, if I can just understand this, if I'm finding something out there, a problem, it's because there's a problem inside of me. Or let's say a resistance inside of me. And because there's a resistance, then I'm in no mode or mood to bring about that change because the resistance is just too strong. So there won't be a solution. So let's just look at anger for a moment, because mostly in conflict, anger is the primary emotion. But let me say that anger is not primary, it's a secondary emotion. And when I'm getting angry, I'm expressing anger, but I'm really upset about something deeper. So for example, I get angry, but inside I'm feeling disrespected, right? Or as I said, you're late, so I get angry. So again, I feel you're not respecting my time. Or I'm with you and you're on the phone all the time and I get angry. Then you say, why are you angry? And then, you know, it's hard to tell them, well, I'm angry because you're not respecting me. But that is the real feeling. It's not that that person's making a lot of noise being on the phone. No, the deeper feeling is that you're not respecting my time with you. So you can see, just again, observe your situations. Anger is a secondary emotion. The cry of anger is simply an expression of a hunger within the soul. So as I said, when the baby cries, when the toddler cries, because they want attention, yeah, not just milk and a nappy change, they want attention. So when we grew up as adults, we brought up this pattern with us that the only way to get attention is to get angry. And if I get angry, I can get some attention. People will take me seriously. But again, I would say that if I am giving myself attention, then I don't need anybody else to give me attention. So again, meditation, self-love, if I'm nurturing that from inside, nurturing myself from inside, then I'm not waiting for it from outside. Now, the peak of anger, when I'm really at the peak of my anger, then I'm actually at the trough of my discrimination power. In other words, there's a big gap between that action that I'm doing and my thought process, which is why a lot of crime is committed during a bout of anger. Because when one gets angry, they're not being reasonable. They're not able to think clearly, not able to decide. And then that's why, you know, they kill or they steal or whatever. And it's only when the anger de-escalates and then I reflect and then I, of course, regret, repent, and it could even go to depression. But that's too late. I needed to have thought about it before, not after. So again, to be mindful of that, not to let the anger escalate to such an extent that I'm losing my discrimination power. That's the point. And anger could result in wrong use of authority or power. Right? So what that means is, if there's anger, people use this, right? People use anger to express their authority. They think, I mean, I get this question many times that you have to be angry, otherwise people don't listen to you. But I always say, yeah, they'll listen to you once or twice, but then not after that. Anger does not sustain people. Anger makes people run away. And then anger is just a habit. It can be changed. So we have one sister here who has told me that really she used to get so angry before. And ever since she started meditating, her anger has disappeared. So yeah, we can work with it. It's not something I have to live with. So there is hope. So work on your anger. Work on filling the soul, and the anger will go. Okay, I just want to show you different styles of behavior, and then how you can check yourself against these styles, because this might help you to deal with your conflict. So we want to be more in the assertive range. Again, we have to understand what is assertive. Assertive is when I'm respecting myself and I'm respecting you. Okay, aggressive is when I'm respecting only me and not you. And passive is when I'm respecting only you and not me. Okay, you got it? Passive, I'm only respecting you and I'm not giving myself any consolation. Aggressive, I'm only respecting myself, everybody should do what I say, and I'm not respecting the other. Okay, so we don't want to be in that range. We want to be in the assertive range. So in the assertive range, I'm able to express my needs, feelings, whatever, in a direct and appropriate way. As a result, I feel good, and as a result, I choose well for the self, right? I choose for myself. If you look in the other side, in passive, you allow others to choose for you. And in aggressive, you choose for the other. So again, back to the self. How to respect the self whilst respecting the other? Well, it's quite easy. When I start having self-love, then I'm able to have that love for others. When I have self-respect, I can have respect for others. It's so simple, right? It's so simple. If I have, then I can give, because I can give from that place because I have a stock to give. But if I am not respecting myself, where is my stock? Right? If I have $1,000, I can give you something from that. Like we have quite a few date trees, so we'll be getting some dates. I can give you from my dates. If you have an apple tree, you can give from your apple tree. Point is, if you have, you can give. If you don't have, you can't give. So this is why we sit in meditation and we fill up. That's all we're doing in meditation, is filling up. It's like going to the petrol station, or you would say the gas station. Okay, go to the gas station, you just sit there, and what happens? You fill up. So here in meditation, just go and sit, get in touch with your inner self and fill up. And once you're feeling full, then you feel powerful, you can deal with things. Okay, so let's give you a little exercise. Let's see if you can see. In both the pictures, there are two images. Let's see if you can see both. In each picture, there are two different images. So see if you can see those. Just take a moment. Yeah? Okay, I hope you've seen it. If you want, you can write in the chat. Okay. So let me point it out to you. So here, there is an old lady. So this is her nose, and this is her mouth, and this is her scarf, right? And then there's a young lady. So this is her hair, and this is her eye, her nose, and her chin. Got it? Okay, and here there is a man like Sherlock Holmes in the white, and then of course somebody who looks like Snow White. All right, so the point here is what? The point here is that we may not see what the other person sees. We're both looking at the same image, but we're seeing something different. So we could both be looking at the same situation, but we're seeing something different, right? And when we see something different, what do we say? We say, no, I'm right, and you're wrong, right? So again, we have to be mindful of that. So here, this is where in the conflict resolution, we have to use discovery versus judgment. Don't judge. Don't say, no, that's wrong. No, that's judgment. I have to be patient and I have to say, okay, I cannot see what they're seeing right now. Let me try and look. And when I try to look, then again, as I said, as I keep saying, there's a win-win situation. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so here, conflict is actually, or resolving conflict is actually my ability to respond, right? Responsibility. So here's a little clue. What's happening? Just look at what's happening to the two people. So basically, if you always do what you've always done, you'll always get what you always got, right? If you always do, see, he keeps hitting, she keeps hitting back. So if each one keeps doing the same action, so something has to change. Something has to change. So basically, if I want a different outcome and the event stays the same, then I need to change my response. Okay, so the event is what? The event is your family, the event is your husband, your wife, your work, your friends. That doesn't change. You cannot change your husband every so often. So the situation stays the same. But yet we want a different outcome. And so we have to respond differently. So if one of them puts that bat down, don't you think there'll be a different outcome? Definitely. So basically we are the creators of our own conflict because of the way we respond to the situation around us. And every response begins with our thoughts and feelings, which are the seeds of our words and actions. So this is why I'm saying it's my responsibility and it's my ability to respond in the most appropriate way I can. And when I do that, then there is no conflict. Okay, maybe it becomes a little minor. Maybe it's a misunderstanding. Or maybe it's just for a few moments. You see, it doesn't escalate. If I use the right thoughts and then the right words come out and then the right actions. So again, just keep this formula, E plus R equals O in your mind. And keep saying to yourself, if I want a different response, if I want a different outcome, I have to respond differently. And then just very quickly to talk about hearing and listening. Okay, so I think you all know that there is one which is technical, which is that I hear, right? Can you hear me or not? Which means, can you actually hear my sound? But are you listening to me? And so listening means with full attention, like totally psychologically present. And that's why I'm saying the word to listen is derived from two Anglo-Saxon words, listen and Losnian. So hearing, but to wait in suspense, like what has this person got to say, which is pure listening, not waiting to then respond. No, just listen, just be there, present. Okay, so hearing is technical, listening is with your heart. Let's say that. So these are some non-verbal communications, right? When we are dealing with conflict, then have some eye contact. I mean, if you want good conflict resolution, you can sit there and not look at that person, but it doesn't give good feeling. You want to at least create some good feeling, some trust, so that there can be some genuine, authentic dialogue that takes place. Okay, so eye contact is good. And then body posture. So again, right, you could be like, you know, turning your back to them and ignoring them, but that doesn't help, right? You might have an attitude, you might be hurt, but this is not going to help. That's not the way to show your pain. You have to sit face to face and then say, okay, you know what? I'm really hurt. So say it with your words, not with your body posture. Gestures, when I mean by gestures, it's like me, as you see, I'm always moving my hands. So gestures can be, you know, okay, please, let's, you know, just whatever you feel allows you to express yourself more genuinely. Because again, if you're just sitting there like that, there's no emotion, there's no heart that you're putting into the dialogue. Facial expression, again, be open, be honest. I think you understand. Don't be grumpy. Don't be moody. Voice tone, inflection, volume, all that. Yeah. So if you shout, see, this is another thing, right? If somebody's shouting at you, you shouldn't say to them, "You're shouting at me," because that is a judgment, right? But then you say to them, I think your voice tone, I know it sounds a bit silly, but you say your voice tone is a bit loud, which is actual fact, isn't it? It's a fact that the volume is high. That they cannot refute. But saying things like you're shouting and you don't listen and you don't care, I mean, these are all your judgments. And we already said we should inquire rather than judge. So you can say, well, sorry, but I think you're talking a bit loudly. Is there a reason? Like, can we keep the volume down? And then tone and inflection means where you're putting most of your attention on what word, right? So you never do anything around here, or you're always late, right? So what am I giving attention to? Why can't I say, well, you're mostly late, and not give it that extra decibel? And then timing, you have to know when to speak to this person. I mean, timing is, I mean, if you're both tired after work, that's not a good time. So find a good time where you know that you can both hear each other. Okay, and this is the last slide. So communication skills. So just a few I'm going to leave you with. Of course, there's many, but these are good, a few for everyday practical communication. So use I statements. So as I said, don't say you, right? You make me angry. No, they're not doing anything. They're just doing what they know. So you need to say, look, I don't know, I lose my cool when something like this happens, or I need some time out, you know, not you go away. So talk from the I perspective. When you say, look, I'm feeling upset, or I'm feeling I cannot carry on, whatever, you're taking responsibility for your feelings, right? So that's all good. And then the other person is willing to listen. But if you say you, then they shut down and they'll start defending themselves and the discussion goes nowhere. Okay, let them talk while you listen. Back to what I was saying, like Losnian and the other word. Losnian and listen, yeah. So let them talk while you listen, and really listen with full heart, trying to want to understand them, trying not to finish their sentences for them. That's the worst thing we can do. No, just wait. Let them find the words. Wait for them to finish their sentence, okay? Because that shows that you're patient enough to want to hear, to understand. Again, this builds trust. And then use the word and instead of but. So, Hansaben, you did a great job of organizing this conflict management. Everything was great. But, right? So as soon as I say but, all the praise that I've given to Hansaben, it's washed away, because now she's waiting for, okay, what's wrong? What's the bad thing? But if I say, Hansaben, look, everything was great, and perhaps if you had done this, and then she's like, okay, yeah, true. Okay, ask clarifying questions. So clarifying questions are like open-ended questions. So closed questions are when you say, okay, Hansaben, are we doing the seminar or not? That's a closed question, which means you just want a yes or no answer. So she will say, yes, we are doing. Okay. So when do you suggest we should do the seminar? So that's more an open question. So what's the weather like today? Do you think it's good or bad? Well, again, not good or bad, but do you think it's going to rain? Whatever. Like if you go zooming in on something specific, that's a closed question. Is it going to rain? Yes or no? Or what's the weather like today? That's an open question. Okay, so ask clarifying questions to inquire, like what's going on? I didn't quite understand. What were you saying? Can you help me understand? Can you explain? These are like clarifying questions. Look for areas of agreement. So we say, yeah, I too want some peace around here. Or I also love silence, just as you love silence. So look for areas of agreement. When you're talking to the other person, you say, yeah, it's true. I wish I could take time out. Or I love it when things are organized as well. I love it when I know in advance what I'm doing as well. Like, so you say, I know you like this, I like this, and that's great. And then observe body language rules, which I said earlier also, right? So don't like say, okay, I'm willing to listen, but your whole body language is closed. No, that doesn't help. And then reframe. Reframe means you hear what they have to say, and then you frame it back to them. You say it again, but in your words. So they've given you, let's say, a picture, you put your frame on it. So then you say it back, and then you say, is this what you're saying? Is this what I'm hearing? That you don't want to do this chore or this job anymore? Is this, have I understood clearly? And then they say yes or no, whatever. Okay. And this is the conflict resolution. I think somebody was asking. So you can go to the blog, and it's there under resources. So free download of this book. And then you can just print it or have a soft copy. Okay. So I don't know, do we want a few minutes of meditation? Actually, the seminar was meant to go on just for an hour and a half. So we have about 10, 12 minutes. So should we have a meditation, Hansaben, or take questions? What would you like?
We can ask everybody if somebody wants to have few questions. You have a time for that, or you want to?
Yeah, I have a few minutes for questions.
Okay. So we appreciate your time. So anybody wants to feel, asking some question that can help you. And one thing keep.
Sorry. Yeah. Can you unmute? Yeah. Hansaben, what was the name?
Yeah, so it's live on Facebook, and we will put on YouTube. And whoever wants to go on Facebook also, let us know. And so all the details are there. Aruna Ben, can you say one more time the website that they can download this book? Info, something like that, right? Yeah, it's a time to meditate.org. Okay. It's time to meditate.org. Okay, everybody got it. Okay. And you will get it, the slide also on Facebook. Okay. Okay, any couple of questions maybe Sister Aruna can take? So somebody wants to ask it, or can you see on the chat, Aruna Ben? Sister Aruna?
Yeah, I can see, but no questions. Everybody's content.
No, Om Shanti, Arunaven. Thank you very much for the lesson. I have a question. Since the time I've been going for meditation since a couple of years, I try to keep myself very calm, composed, and everything. I have a joint family. And when sometimes they say things to me, I try to keep quiet. But then what happens is that as time goes on, then they start thinking that, I am like, I start feeling, maybe I shouldn't be assuming what they are thinking. I start feeling that they think it's okay to say anything to me. And although I'm the mom, of course, and that I'm willing to be suppressed. That's how I feel. I'm not saying what they assume.
So your question is?
So my question is, like we were talking, that sometimes silence speaks, and this is what I've collected, that somebody is disrespecting you, somebody is angry at you, mad at you in the family. I keep saying, Baba, give light might to them, calm them down, calm them down. But then it happens very frequently. And then there comes a point when you start feeling that are they assuming that we are open to suppression?
Yeah, but from what I hear from your voice and it's a loaded silence, no?
It is. Sometimes
So,
you want to speak, but just to maintain peace, you keep quiet.
no, but what I mean is you're being quiet, but there's a lot going on in your mind. That's what I'm saying.
Correct.
That's not, yeah, you're being quiet, but there's not the silent mind. There's a difference, right?
So the iceberg, the portion of the iceberg which is covered is not silent. Is that correct?
The bottom portion is not silent.
Yes. Okay, I got it. Okay.
Right. No. So for that, I mean, you're not the only one. We're all like that. So for that, then this is the point. We have to clear those thoughts from inside. And so we can use some of the wisdom and the knowledge, and we can say that, okay, it's that one's part. Okay, that's how they are, that's what they do, that's how they talk. But the thing is, if I'm getting affected, then that becomes my karma. Do you see? This is the thing. They can do what they want, but it's the moment that I get affected that I make it mine. So somehow, yes, we have to find a way to just observe them, but then not have extra thoughts. This is the key. It's the moment we have those extra thoughts that then we become peaceless and restless. And then you said something else also about they do this, or you think they do this, or they think you are like this. I mean, see, all this, I'm sorry to say, but it is a lot of waste. And all I can do is I have to manage myself. So when I work on myself and I'm managing my thoughts, then really nobody's doing anything to me. I don't allow anybody to do anything to me. So they can do what they want, but it's not affecting me because I'm not giving that permission to them. So you have to strengthen your core from inside. Make yourself strong with a strong sense of self-respect, and that slide of, you know, the assertiveness, be assertive, which is respect yourself and respect the other person.
Okay. Yeah, no, absolutely. I understand. Thank you so much. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti. I have a question actually. This is actually reflecting the current day situation. I think this is with one of the news that I'm listening from is from Apple. This calling the employees back to work after pandemic, and the employees are rejecting that. You know, they like to work remotely, but they don't want to face the management, assemble, and get in conflicts because they have to give the updates once we meet, and they're finding this kind of apprehension, or let me say they're getting intimidated by the fact that they want to see their immediate management or report and, you know, convey their feelings. Now my question is like, would it be good enough to be assertive to reject some of the direction that comes from top down from the management, and first you listen to them as I was going through your presentation, and then convey your feelings very amicably and cordially as much as you can, and share your feelings why you don't want to be there, which is not a good thing. But the management wants you to be there because they are looking from the productive standpoint, from the business standpoint, and both ways there's kind of a friction between the employee and the manager based on the relationship. So what would be the thought and the right approach to go towards that? I'm sorry to bring this up, but it is what it is. It's at a current date. It's a day today that we got to know this. So
Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're asking my opinion, don't take it as a Bible, but yeah, of course, always good to put your opinion forward. But to be honest, at the end of the day, it's a company. You know, it's a company, and they've paid you to work there, and either you, yeah, go by their rules or you leave, right? So they will always have the upper hand. But yeah, why not? Always good to say, look, can we find another way of doing this? But yeah, without being rebellious or revolutionary. And maybe, yeah, it's a good idea. In some cases, actually, there was something that went viral in India, right? There was this little girl, and she just did this video, or her mom did the video. And the little girl, she's very cute. She's from the Kashmir side. And she says, Modi ji, why are we getting so much homework? It's the big kids who should be getting more homework. And it's ever so cute. And it went viral. And then the local mayor took it up, and he asked for an investigation. Why are the little children being given a lot of homework? And of course, I'm sure Modi ji has also heard it. So yeah, you never know. Like, but yeah, do it from the right place, the right heart, and why not? Yeah. And I think there was a couple of questions here. It's very hard. Yeah.
thank you.
Welcome. If someone is not ready to listen to anything, then how to communicate? Yeah. Well, yeah, you can try and say, well, I mean, you can try and be flexible and say, okay, when would you like to meet? When can you meet? And if they keep saying no, 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 then as I said earlier, then you say, okay, you tried, but it's not working. So like I said, at the end, at least you will be at peace with yourself that you at least tried. Right? So in the record, or in the record book, at least you tried, right? That would be my answer to you. But yeah, you can't force anybody to communicate if they're not. See, another thing that we work with a lot with the meditation is you just send them powerful vibes, like good vibes. And I was sharing this in one of the talks, that sometimes when I have to speak to somebody and it's a difficult situation, or I have to, you know, somehow tell them something's not quite right, then I start sending them vibes from my early morning meditation. And then when I'm actually meeting them, I find that, you know, they make it so easy for me. Either they admit, or they say, you know what, I have to change, or they say, yeah, I wanted to speak to you. So try this also. Try sending good vibes and see them in a good light, and that might work. In relation, when one party is from the stage, take it or leave it. But I am, I think you didn't, but I am. Yet I am descriptive and clear about what it is I want to take from the relation, and it is perceived as what they want to hear. One, what can I do better? Dear, I'm not I'm not able to get your question. They're saying take it.
In a relation, oh, good evening, everyone. In a relationship, as you said, it can be win-win. And we are in a relationship because we are humans, we live together. But in a relationship, when somebody is the upper hand and says, in a kind of like, take it or leave it, you know, in that kind of attitude. And, but you know that you are just, you know, in a relationship, you want to be in a relationship. So you are descriptive and you are talking, but they want to hear how they want to or what they want to hear. So is there anything that I can do better to overcome this attitude, or take it or leave it?
You're saying something, and
yeah.
they, like, you're asking them for some change, and they say take it or leave it, like this?
No, not a change. I cannot intrude their method because they are the upper hand. But like, I'm clear, I'm very advocate about my situation or about my needs, what I want in that context of relationship. And to be specific, this is not like, it's like institutional relationship. Because I have no, I'm not related to that person, but due to the institution, yes, I am related. It's Brahmin word. Let's say, okay, let's be more specific.
Well, see, the thing is, yeah, I think for everyone, this I'm saying, I think we have to accept that we won't always be able to get on with everyone. But that doesn't mean that we cannot, at least from our side, have love and good wishes for each one. So if somebody has the upper hand, if somebody has a position, and then if they're saying to me, okay, take it or leave it, then yeah, it just shows you, right, where they are at. So I can learn from that. Do I want to be like them? Is this how I would speak to my junior? So firstly, it's a lesson for me, how to be, how not to be. And then, yes, again, to just learn to love and respect, because not everybody has those interpersonal skills. Not everybody is brought up with manners. Not everybody even values manners. So this is the thing. I mean, those on the spiritual path understand that we all come with a different set of personality traits. And we cannot all be the same. And we have to live on this planet spaceship, but yet somehow make it work. We have to live in harmony. And the only way we can live in harmony is really to see each other's specialities. Really, really, really. So yeah, I see that somebody is not talking properly, but let me at least try to see their specialities. And really, I'll be at peace for it. And then I'm sending them those good vibes because I appreciate what they are or what they're doing. And at least the relationship is in some kind of harmonious mode. Okay, so I think we'll end there. Ansaben, is that good? Thank you so much.
That's perfectly all right. And there is little announcement and thanks. Johnny Ben, you want to do that? I put it on the chat also, but still, if it is can be, and then we can have moment of silence, and everybody can unmute yourself and open your video also. Say thank you to our wonderful speaker today.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Aruna
much.
Ben. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you.
And thank you for answering our questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sister. Thank you. That was
Thank you.
beautiful.
Aruna was wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. No need. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Aruna.
Very good. Actually, this class is such that we can learn at least couple of times. Then it helps us to figure out and use it practically also. So I'm sure you all can get benefit through the Facebook and the YouTube, right? Yes, Johnny Ben, you can take few seconds and then we can conclude. Yes.
Okay, I'll make this quick because I know Aruna's time is limited for us, and she has graced us with all this wisdom. Sister Hansa had called me last night and she said, just in case no one asks any questions, why don't you prepare 8 questions? And so I did. I prepared these questions and you answered all of them. So now I have no questions. So anyway, thank you so much for that. Just quickly, a couple of announcements. As Hansabin posted in the chat, every Monday evening, June the 7th, 14th, and 21st, from 5 until 6, there will be a Hindi Raj Yoga meditation class. And then for the English students, every Wednesday from June 9th, 16th, and 23rd. And so anyway, I hope that you'll be able to join us for that. And we will be making more announcements regarding that as well. And thank you, Mr. Aruna, again so much. And don't forget to join us on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because Sister Aruna, we're reading some of your articles on Tuesday, and the feedback that we're getting is just incredible. Everyone is benefiting so much. All right, so thank you, and that's it. Back to you, Sister Hansa and Sister Aruna.
Yes, everything is on the same Zoom link. That's it. All right. Let's have a moment of silence. Aruna will have some thoughts to conclude.
Okay. Okay, so just mute your mics and let's have some quiet. Okay, so sit comfortably. And I'm just going to take a few moments with myself to build my inner core. So as I turn my attention to my inner world, for the first few moments, I just observe what are the thoughts, what are the feelings. In fact, right now, just observe, get in touch with your feeling. Just take some deep breaths to really calm the self. And I say to myself quietly in my mind that I am a powerful soul. Just repeat quietly in your mind. And really believe it, really feel it as you say it. I am a powerful soul. I am a peaceful soul. I vibrate peace all around me. I am a kind soul. Kind to everyone and everything. And just feel the power develop inside of you as you have these very strong, powerful thoughts. You start to feel good. You start to feel energized. You start to feel confident. And let's just take a moment now to thank the environment today, because it's World Environment Day. So I'd like all of us to just send thoughts of love and appreciation to all the trees, all the plants, all the oceans, to the air we breathe, to the sunshine, to Mother Earth. Because without her, we cannot be here. So once again, I come back to the self, having a strong sense of self and having a strong sense of why I need to create harmony in all my relationships. Om Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Om Shanti, Aruna Ben.
Om Shanti.